Hi guys, Jess Speciale here, and you're watching Mum on Purpose. Okay, so today I want to talk to you guys about surviving the weekend when you're on your weight loss journey. So, what could happen if you're trying to improve your diet, gain more energy, lose weight, get your goal weight, all those kinds of things? A lot of the time we come tripped up on the weekend. And why is that? We're not in a normal routine. Usually Monday to Friday, even if we're mums, because we've got school stuff or our partners are working, it's easy for us to have a routine. But then when we have the weekend, the kids are home and going crazy, or maybe you're headed out with your friends, there are or you've got events or birthday parties, it can be really difficult to stick to your goals or stick to your plan. And then what happens is we feel so bad and we beat ourselves up about the fact that we did that, and then it derails us and it reduces our confidence, and we just kind of go off track for the rest of the week. So I want to share a couple of things that you guys can do to ensure that you don't go too crazy. Now, number one thing I want to talk about is alcohol. So a lot of my clients say to me, oh, what's the deal with alcohol? Should I drink? Well, the deal with alcohol is the more you want to shrink, the less you should drink. Now, why is that? Alcohol is actually a macronutrient. A lot of people don't know that alcohol is a macronutrient. So where a fat, for every gram of fat is 9 calories. So that's why it's really high, which is, why a lot of people reduce fat when they're trying to lose weight. Alcohol, for every gram of alcohol, is 7 calories. So it's almost as much as fat, which is crazy. With carbs and protein, for every gram of carbs or proteins, 4 calories. So you need to think about that. Worry about what your liquid calories are. Like, what are you taking on the weekend? Are you eating quite well, but then you're polishing off a bottle of wine? Or are you going to a birthday party? Are you going somewhere where you're going to have a couple of drinks? Maybe just stick to one, or maybe go for an alternative. Just be aware that when you are having alcohol, you could very easily go out of control with your calories or your intake of energy that way. The second thing that alcohol does is it reduces our inhibition, so we're more likely to eat. So we're more likely to eat more, and we're more likely to eat more of the food that we usually wouldn't. So it reduces our inhibitions about that. We usually eat more, and we usually eat more of the things that we don't want to. So that's the second thing to look out for about alcohol. The third thing that we want to do is if we have an event and we want to plan for it. So be aware of where you're going and what you're doing. If you're going to a kid's birthday party, that's really hit and miss. Sometimes it's really difficult to know what's going to be there. Well, the best thing you can do is just don't go there hungry. Don't go there so hungry that you're going to pick out all the cake and sausage rolls and fairy bread. The best thing you can do is to have a high protein meal before you go. So as you guys know, I partner up with Herbalife Nutrition. So I add some extra protein in my shake, my nutrition shake, as I'm going to a party or going out to dinner or anything like that. And I also add some fiber in there. So then I'm feeling quite full, and as all the meals are being passed around, I don't really feel like it. I can still have a piece of cake if I want to. That's not going to derail all of my efforts by any means. I can still indulge a little, but I'm not going to go there so hungry and then pick out or not eat anything at all. And then I'm going to eat more later, and my energy is going to be all over the place because I went too long without eating. That's never a good idea either. The other thing is, again, going too long between meals, because that can lead to us overeating later. It can lead to our energy being all out of whack. Maybe we don't exercise as much as we normally would because our energy is all over the place. And maybe we're snapping more, and it's all that kind of stuff. So it's also important to understand just to eat regularly, and ideally high protein snacks. But if you can't, have pieces of fruit ready for you to go. So if you're heading out with the kids, I'm really notorious for this. Like, everybody knows I carry one of those Glad bags around, and I throw carrots and apples and everything in the Glad bag. So then it doesn't matter where we're going with the kids, we can have a piece of fruit when we're out. We all do. And then the peels go, and all the yuck bits or the half-eaten bits go back in the Ziploc bag, and it gets zipped up. That way it doesn't get all messy in the bag or all messy in the car or anything like that. So there are some things that you can kind of do. Also, if you're heading out to dinner, you can look ahead at the menu. So if you're heading out to dinner with friends and you don't want to cause a fuss, and you don't want to panic and then order something at the last minute that you regret, you can look ahead at the menu and see, hey, what's on the menu? What do I want to get? And you can the other thing that you can do if you're really dedicated, is you can call up the restaurant ahead of time and say, hey, these are my needs. I don't want to be causing a scene, there. So what can I ask for? What are my alternatives? You can do that. I have clients who do that all the time. They're heading out to a restaurant with friends. They don't want to cause a scene. So they call up. They ask for what's the healthiest meal? What can they ask to be left out? How are these particular things made? And then when they get to the restaurant, they know exactly what they're going to ask for. Also, when you're out at the restaurant, just either ask for them to remove the bread or put it on another table, or do not order bread. So this is something that me and my husband always used to do. Whenever we went out, we always ordered bread. Now, what's the deal with bread? There's nothing wrong with bread. And if you're going out for a big treat, hey, go for it. But if you still want to stick to your plan and you want to eat healthy, get the bread box taken away. And the reason I say that is because you're filling up on bread. You're eating it usually just because it's there, or you haven't eaten before you've headed out, so you're already at the restaurant really hungry. But then when your actual meal comes out, you're already a bit full, and you've ingested all these extra calories that comes from the bread, and you won't appreciate your meal as much. You feel guilty because you've eaten all this bread. Then you think to yourself, oh well, I've eaten all this bread and stuff, so might as well just go all out and go crazy for dessert. So, so that's something else that can happen. So we just found if you just take the bread box away, you enjoy your meal so much more, and then you can have dessert. You won't feel as bad if you indulge in dessert, or you're more likely to go for a fruit or something like that, or a sorbet or something a bit healthier for dessert. Something else that is really important to do on the weekend, make sure you stay hydrated. So it's really great when we're in a routine. I've done a video about the importance of water, my 5 top things about having water, but I also think keeping up your hydration on the weekend is really important for maintaining your energy. Also moving on the weekend. So the weekend, I don't always go to the gym, but I always move. So I still want to make sure that I'm exercising, because I don't know, if I miss a day of exercising, I just don't do it the next day. I don't know, my body's weird like that. I think it's because I used to do ballet, and I used to train for 17 hours a week when I was doing ballet. So I'm used to doing a lot of exercise all the time. So I think that's ingrained in me. I don't think that's a normal thing. But for me, if I don't do some kind of exercise, then it just throws me out of whack. And what I've started doing is I started trying to learn some yoga techniques. So I like to go to the gym, but on the weekends, I specifically like to concentrate on learning yoga from home, because then if I do not get to the gym, I'm still moving, and in my head, that's still a win, and I've still exercised. So I don't talk myself out of not going to the gym the next day, if that makes sense. One last thing I'll talk about, for the weekend, and then I'll stop, because I could literally go on about tips all day. And if you have a specific challenge, make sure you leave it in the comments, because I can definitely, like I said, this is just one of those topics I can go on and on and on and on and on about. But if you've had a big night the night before, so say you've been to a wedding, or you've just gone crazy on a Saturday night, how do you get back on track? The best thing that you can do is wake up on Sunday morning, have a big glass of water. If you're on your nutrition plan, then have a huge water-based shake to get more energy in, and also have a herbal beverage. If you're not on the nutrition plan, that's no problems. Make sure you have a breakfast that you can stomach, that is high in fiber and high in protein. So this could be some poached eggs with some sourdough, or some rye bread with some avocado, or something along those lines. You want something with lots of fiber and lots of protein in there to fill up that void, so you're not going to feel hungry. As much hydration as you can, and if possible, move as much as you can, as quickly as you can in the morning. So if as soon as humanly possible, as long as you're feeling human again, try and exercise. And the reason why we do this is because usually when we exercise, we tend to want to eat better. It's this thing in our body, I don't know, it's just crazy. So when we tend to want to eat better once you've exercised. So that's why it's really important to try and exercise as much as possible, because then rather than having a Saturday night blowout which turns into a free-for-all on Sunday, if we're getting back on track really quickly, then it's just the Saturday night, we're back on track by Sunday, we're excited, we're motivated, and then Sunday night we're meal prepping for the rest of the week, and we're all excited because we haven't gone too crazy. So that's why I think if you've had a big crazy night on a Saturday, that's fine. get back on track Sunday, because especially if you're still on your journey, you still got work to do. You know, I have always said that when you're on your journey to weight loss, or when you're on your journey to shred or your perfect figure or more energy, you know, that's when you need to be strict. And you need to be strict with your nutrition, because 80% of your results will come from your nutrition, and 20% of your results come from exercise. 100% comes from your mindset. But it's really important then that, you know, you get back on track really quickly as well. So I hope you guys found this useful. Like I said, if there's anything at all that you struggle with, please leave it in the comments and we can address that. I can shout you a little reply, or maybe we'll be able to make another video. But I hope that you guys found that useful. Go out, enjoy your weekend. But you know, when you're maintaining and when you get back to that maintenance bit, we maintain, you don't need to be so strict, but we do need to be different, and we aren't going to always like it. We're not going to always enjoy the fact that we're saying no to a champagne. But hey, if you want something different, you got to be different. You know, if we want to get better, if we want life to be better, then we need to be better. We need to be the ones that are making the changes, and sometimes it's hard, but that's what we got to do. So I hope that you guys got something out of this, and thank you guys so much for spending your time with me, and I'll speak to you next time.